Hello everyone, welcome back to Railway Cottage. It's Karen. I am finally back into my little studio here, ready to do some stitching after what feels like forever, having not had a chance to get down here. Just lots and lots of busy things happening. My daughter had a little girl 8 days ago who came early and had some complications, so we've been down at the NICU, but she is well. She's coming along with flying colours, so today I can breathe and sit down here and do a bit of my own therapy. So I am picking up Home is Where the Heart Is, which just feels so lovely and wonderful to have in my hands again. I am going through from the top down and just making sure that each of the panels is finished. Um, I have one panel at the bottom that has quite a bit of work to do, but I'm kind of leaving that to last, as you do. And so I am looking at this piece, which I can't even remember the last time I picked it up, and just seeing that my stitching is finished, that all of my little background areas have got some interest, and seeing where I need to add some bits and pieces. I can see that I have added a piece of lace up here at some point. I've pinned that. So obviously I thought that should go there. I might stitch that down. Just going to have a look. Let me just zoom you out a little bit the other way so you can see. Having a look at which way to use that. You off and just giving some more layers. Okay. Oh, it feels so good to get into here. So I'm just going to pick up whatever thread I have ready to go, and it happens to be a red one. I'm going to use up all the threads in my little pin cushion first before I cut any more. How are you? I haven't been here for a while. It feels like a very long time, but I am very much looking forward to doing some sewing with you. I have fallen behind on my Roxy projects. I have, as I said, I have spent very little time sewing. I did take a little sewing, kit with me, but to be honest, the time that I did have that was downtime. I was pretty fatigued and didn't do a lot. I have done a little bit of work on my ABC book for our new little girl. Her name is Wilhelmina. She's going to be Minnie for short. I've started a little alphabet book for her. I'll share that whole thing a bit later. I made it very personal to her with her cats and dogs and everything. So I'm up to E in that. So I have done a little bit of stitching, but I'm looking forward to getting my hands back into Home is Where the Heart Is, because this was meant to be finished, but it feels nice to pick it up again. And sometimes it's good to have a break because you come back and you see your work with fresh eyes. So I hope you are working on something lovely. I hope you've had some inspiration from all of the people out there now doing slow stitching. There is so much out there to share and inspire you. And so I hope that you have found someone who speaks to you in your creative language. Ah, it feels so good to get going again. So my plan for today, it is a rainy day up here in Bundaberg. I am still on long service. It's my last day of long service, which I had taken to, my daughter was meant to have her baby yesterday, but I had to chuck a couple of weeks in front of this one. So today is my last day of long service. I'm going to spend it here. It's a rainy day, which is beautiful, and it's cool. So my sewing room, my little studio is very comfortable. I have no floors, but that's okay. I still have no walls. I'll do a little studio tour once I've finished my sewing today. I have put some gallery walls back up, even though the walls are being replaced, because, who knows how long it's going to take the RACQ to actually get here, and, they're sending assessors, and then the assessors have to send in a quote, and then that has to be approved, and then we actually have to find somebody to do the work. And I don't know about you, but in regional Queensland, yeah, good luck. I think RACQ alone said they had, 2,500 claims just from that one flood event, that which was the one we claimed. And there's just not that many tradesmen regionally that are prepared to do those little jobs. They seem to all be working on new builds. So So in the meantime, I have repainted my walls and the walls that are left standing, and put my pictures back up because I need my little space to feel like it's mine. And I used paint we had, so it didn't really cost us anything. And I think from previous experience, what they tend to do is cut off the bottom 600 mil of your of your board anyway, not take the whole piece. So who knows? I'm just going to carry on regardless. Okay, some lace popped on there. Oh, I forgot how much I love this piece. So you're on there, pop you down. And now because this, gets picked up and moved around and whatever, and I don't want things to hang upside down, I will just put a couple of little tiny stitches across here, just still in the red. Very rarely trying to hide anything. All about the layers, isn't it? The goodness and the yumminess of it all. Just going to go through here. Random is good. So you've had a lovely little bit of rain overnight, and let's just hope it doesn't do the Queensland thing where it just then keeps going. That was nice. I think we got about 60 mil, and it can stop now. Okay, so I've got my two little crosses. That'll do me. I'm going to get I feel like I need this kind of coloured thread here now. I'm going to use here just to do something similar. And I've got some red thread on. I'm just seeing if I can run it anywhere. I might actually just continue that down through both of these. A little cluster. I love a little cluster. Don't necessarily want it to look too planned. A little loose stitches. There we go. Where is the bottom of that? There it is. I'm going to run that up here and do a stitch up the other way. Make it stay where I want. So my little zinnias and cosmos that I planted last week, I seeded them all. Loving that rain. They've just all popped their little heads up. So, it's always a joy. Yeah. There is my bunting that I love. Okay. Just never quite finished, hey? Slow stitching. I'm happy with that. I'm just having a look at where else I feel like I need some more. More. I feel like my little ducks here, which are gorgeous. That's the new Max and Louise little conversation prints. I feel like they need a bit of attention. They could be made to look a bit more special. I'm just going to tie that off. So I'm using the back. This particular piece has the back of a doona cover as the backing. Beautiful 100% cotton Sheridan doona cover that I found at Vinnie's. The front of it I used for the back of menagerie. And it's fabulous because it's the right size. It's queen bed size. And it's cotton and it's soft because it's been used. And very, very good quality because it's Sheridan. So let me find one of my needles. Lost it. Try the other end. So what are you working on? I'm seeing more and more people working on larger projects, which is really good, because it really doesn't take that long. You know, you just chip away. You can either make your piece bigger, the panel bigger, or you can just make multiple pieces and put them together. So I've made this little brooch. This is a little wearable that comes off. That's just from a beautiful old doily and some vintage silk ribbon, and I've just popped a little heart on there. So that comes off. Home is where the heart is. So let's have a look at my ducks. What do you think? So I've got a lot of square, I've got some circle. Now that I've threaded this up, I don't want that colour. I want darker than that. So I think I might go for a brown. Again, Vinnie's, this is what I have. I've got a variegated kind of brown, or I've got a thick brown. I might go the heavy brown. I don't know if it'll get through this particular needle. I might have to select another one. Have a look. Everything's a bit everywhere because of, now this one has a bigger hole. See if I can get this through. I'm thinking I will just frame my little ducks with some stitching. I'm hoping this is a better view of my work without so much reflection, because I've moved to a different table, which is nice because I can also sit down, which is probably not what I should be doing, but okay. So I'm going to have a look at this little ducky here. I think I might just make him just a circle frame with some brown, and just my eye, nothing's ever precise with slow stitching. I'm actually just going to do a running stitch. I'm not going to do a back stitch, and I'm just going to go around twice. That makes sense. Fill in the gaps on the second time. I find this particular fabric, as you can see, it's quite a fine weave, and it just means I don't my needle in the same hole too frequently. Oh, there's these little duck feet. I missed them. Oh, it feels so good to be sewing again. It really is such a form of self-soothing or therapy or whatever you want to call it. We should have trimmed that, shouldn't I? I just pulled it through. Well, I'm just going to live with it. This is a nice heavy thread, so it's going to give me a nice thick border. I do need to put my thimble on. These are the thimbles that I use. I find these are great. They have the top that's metal and the side that's plastic, so if you're trying to grip, it kind of does both jobs. You can grip with it and save the skin on the top of your fingers as well from the back of your needle. I've been trialing a few different needles lately. I've been to Spotlight, and I purchased some different types of needles just to see what is, what I might prefer. So I kind of just had random needles that had appeared in my life. These needles are quite good. I'll show you the box. She says, looking for the box. I put them somewhere safe to show you, but I've cleaned up. So I'll search a bit later. Are they up here? Yes, they are. So I bought some straw needles and some quilt basting needles. I was looking for some needles. I like long needles, and these are long and they have a bigger eye so that you can get some of these bigger threads through, but they're not the sharpest. So sometimes they do. They're not great for fabrics that fray really, really easily, or if you are using them on that fabric, you have to go in a bit from the edge, or you'll just decimate the edge of your fabric. And then these are quilt basting needles, which are lovely and really sharp and long, but they have quite a fine eye. So you kind of have to weigh up what is the best. This is great for this sort of thing because I'm going through multiple layers, and it's really strong. It doesn't bend. You know, I can push it hard and it's not going to break. But if I was using a fine linen or something like that, it would pretty much make a nice big hole every time, which is fine if you don't mind a big hole, but depending on what you're using it for. So let me know if you've got some needles that work for you. It's probably the first time I've deliberately tried to go and find some needles. I've kind of just literally opened my cupboard and used what's there. So there's my little duck. That's better. He's nice. He's got a lovely little brown frame. Do I want to do that for the next one as well? Let me have a drink and think about it. I don't think I do. I think I just want one duck in a frame. Look at this little guy, isn't he gorgeous? You see him down here? Or do I? Let's do the next one. Let's just do it and see what I think. What do you think? I don't know if I'll be happy with two. Okay, the rule, 1 or 3. I have a few projects that I want to crack on with now. One is my little alphabet book. One is my doll's house, and the other one is the Roxy's Journal of Stitchery Volume 5, the framed still life. So I haven't actually watched the latest prompt. I need to get onto that. I really have been incommunicado for about 12 days, I think. This weekend is free. I'm going to really try and spend some time down here. Okay, I don't mind the two. Just have to check that it's balanced. I think I've got brown here, so that we'll balance it out. Either that or I'll have to do the third one below. Oh, the dilemma. I did have a little bit of an op shop yesterday, a bit of a turbo op shop after I dropped my car in for a service, and got a few things. I did pick up a few things, but they're in my husband's car, which is disappointing. He's gone to work, and I'll have to wait till he gets home. See, do I feel like I need that one now? Poor old ducky, look, his head's missing. What do you think? Let's just give it a crack and see what we think. And again, I've just run that thread down the back. It doesn't matter. There's going to be a backing on this. It's not something that's going to be worn or, you know, I am doing a back stitch on this just to completely change what I was doing. I probably won't go all the way around. Can't do 2. 2 wasn't working for me, so 3 it is, even though it's only a partial bit of this little dude. Ooh, come through you. So this piece is doing well. It just needed a bit more. There we go. I'm happy with that now. So 1, 2, 3. Let's turn you around. I'm going to tie that off. Not going anywhere. The Look at that mess on the back. Let's have a look so far. So let's start at the bottom and have a look. Just see what you can see. You can see it all now. So I've also pinned this here. Look at that. I wonder why I did that. Let's see. That is obviously meant to follow that little path. I don't like that side. A little path up there. That, I wonder. No, I'm going to cut that so that it just tucked under here. I don't want to cut my little bit of green edging there. All right, what do I have on my threads? Red, more red. Let's start with red. Again, I'm just going to stitch this down, not thinking about it too much. This thread is in my way. There's a nice lovely little tree under here. It's from a Norfolk Island hanky that said, "Welcome to Norfolk." Norfolk Island pine. I'm just going to do big straight stitches. So I'm going to just pin this little guy back so you can see. Straight stitches to just put him on there. Ow. Check he's in the right place. Yep. You just love all this stuff together. Right, so that's on. I'm just going to put that down to see if I need to do anything here. So I don't want that to flap open, as you can see, because that's the backing. So I'm going to just tuck him where I want him, and then I'm going to continue my crosses, if I can pick it up. See the crosses I have along here? I'm going to continue those down the side, and then that will keep that where I want it. So let's just pin you. See how this is a fine, very finely woven linen? You'll see what I mean by how this will split it. I don't mind, because I don't mind that it's going to maybe make some holes or make the holes where I stitch a little bit bigger. I don't mind that. But it's just to be aware of it, that it will do that. Make sure it's where I want it. I want that under there. There we go. Yeah. Hold it where I want it and stitch through. Would have been easier starting from the other end, but that's not where my thread was. Love the little blue and white doilies. They're always my favourites. And probably on our last cross. Just enough thread. Look at that. Perfect. I'm going to tie you off with a double stitch. I lost it, and I'm not going to rethread it. There we go. Done. So that little guy's done. He's down. He's not going anywhere. So let's have a look here. I'm not happy with what's happening here. I've stitched that down so that my little rabbits can jump. I think that probably just need to stitch that side just with the little tie-me down stitch, tie-me kangaroo down stitch. I'm just going to use this little bit of brown because it's what's left on my needle. Oh, if I can make a knot. Again, I'm going to just pop a pin in. This is just held up under here. Pop a pin in where I want it to be. I'm just going to do a very simple base stitch. Yeah, oh, just like that. Just be a little blobby stitch. What happens if I take that off? Just another one to keep him in his place. All I needed. And again, just so I know that it can be folded and hung up and moved, and I'm not going to end up with things all hanging in the wrong spots and all the little treasury bits that I've put in there disappearing or not being seen. See, that's just quiet, that's fine. I've got my little house here. Let's have a look from the ground up. Well, here's this beautiful rooster that you can't even really see because I haven't made him very fabulous. So I think I'm going to do some stitching on him. I might look for some thread, more exciting. I do have this beautiful, oh, maybe I'll use ribbons. I have all my blues out for my little alphabet book that I'm doing. So I was just drawn to these ribbons. Aren't they beautiful? And I have no skill at all when it comes to these. I kind of just do it until I'm happy with it. So I think I might give him a bit of ribbon. Let's see if that's the best colour. What have I got? What do I have? I've got the dark blue. So when my mother started quilting, the first project she ever did was probably one of the most difficult projects anyone could do, which was a beautiful quilt that she made for me, where the whole thing was needle, ribbon embroidery, and it was just the hugest project. And so these are left over from that project because I don't think she ever did it ever again. I think she was traumatized. So let's see what I have. Actually, this one is lovely. I don't have a lot, but I could kind of do a bit of the light and a bit of the skinny dark. What do you think? So now the trick is getting this onto a needle. I just, force it on there. I find, again, this is the straw needles that I purchased from Spotlight. And see how the hole is quite big? So if you cut your needle on your beautiful ribbon on an angle and give yourself a point, I found it goes on no worries. And if you are a ribbon embroiderer, look away now, because as I said, I have no skill at this at all. I just shove it on until I'm happy with how it looks. So I am going to just do some plumes and feathers and see if I can make him look a bit more special. I'm going to start by just starting at this end. Takes a bit to pull it through. I didn't knot it, probably should have done that. It's such a waste. These are beautiful old silk embroidery. So Mum started quilting out, gosh, 30 years ago. So that's how old these are. So you don't throw anything away. I'm thinking that I want this to, again, don't look now if you're a ribbon embroiderer, because I'm just making it up as I go along. I just want it to be kind of flat. To do that for me. Perfect. And then I'm going to tuck in behind here so that I'm kind of making it look like feathers behind feathers. Again, takes a bit of pulling through. Do need. I have another thimble somewhere that's just, I'll use this one for now just so I can grip it better. These needles have a habit of slipping through your fingers. That's better when you're pulling very, very hard. Let's see. Now I'm just going to unwind you. I don't want it flat completely. I want it a little bit twisted, but I don't want it skinny. Aha, perfect. just like that. Edward Thimble Pants is what I am. And again, I'm just going to tuck behind there and then go to the next spot. Make old Rodney Rooster look fabulous. Yep, I'm on. And again, this is a really heavy piece of fabric. It's a beautiful kind of heavyweight curtain fabric, so it can handle all this pulling and pushing. And you know, again, I'm just following the curve of the fabric, of the pattern of his little tail. Come on, you. There we go. Excellent. And just not pulling it tight. I don't want it skinny. I want it flat. It won't go all of that way. It will just pull itself straight. So I'm just going to go halfway, kind of to the side. Yep. And then down to here. And then I'm going to start the next side of feather behind that. Come on, come through. Here we go. One. Perfect. I would prefer that a bit spunny out. And then I'm going to, maybe I want that way. And then I'm going to tuck this bit behind there? Yeah, behind here. Hopefully that'll make it a bit more of a curve. Oh, there it is. There's his little tail so far. So I'm going to go through with the thinner dark blue and do a bit of a highlight thingy. I'm going to go back to the pointy bit here. Do the same thing. I've just see what I've done. I've just stitched through that. Put through itself. I don't want to waste any of this. That's better. There we go. And again, tucked in behind myself in here. Room for my needle. There we go. Yep. Again, just doing that sort of little bit at a time and then tucking in behind thing without pulling my beautiful ribbon straight. I mean, you could do this with wool. Lots of people are working with beautiful wools these days, but you know what? I'm using what I have as well. And I love that this was Mum's and she used it for the first quilt she ever made. Here, yeah, that's good. I'm going to start at the bottom to save a bit of ribbon. I'm going to spin it a bit so that I've got a bit more of more height and a bit more texture on this side of the fabric. That's good. Then I'm going to go here. Sorry, I'll be bumping you every time I pull that through. Good. And what do you think? Looks like I know what I'm doing, but I really don't. So I'm just making it up. What? Spin that into here. And on. Yep. I think I'm going through ribbon now, but it's going to work. Just need to give it a bit more. There we go. Around. I'm going to pull that in a bit here, like that. Just want it to be a bit fatter, you know what I mean? Hold that open with my needle and pull it down like that. So that's right. two little bits to go here. Start here. It's a bit easier to pull it over here because it's only itself. I'm not pulling it through more ribbon. Yep. One more here. Make it look curved. And I'm going to tuck that into there. And this tail bit here looks like 2 stitches, I think. If I go here, through. He says it's not hard work, slow stitching. Yeah, and then I think I've got one. I have one more. Here's my thread is getting shorter. I'm having to pull it a bit tighter, so I'm just going to pull that one out. I don't want it tight like that. No, I want it big and chunky there. I think I have one more stitch to make here for his tail. To there. That's good. He's very twisted, which will hopefully make him nice and bumpy. And again, see how I've pulled that tight? And I don't want to. Let's give you a bit of a squidge away. And how's that look? He's gorgeous. Now that's all of that ribbon. That's okay. Is that the same? You think? Slightly different. A little bit more of it over here. So this is going to be up here for his little cock. So I'm going to just think about how I'm going to knot that off. I don't think I need to do very much at all because it's not going anywhere, people. That is so tightly and twisted and in on itself. These little tails, okay. Now I just probably have enough. Where did I put the other bit? Oh, to do his little thingy on top of his head. And again, easy with these straw needles. Just put the point, and we've got a big fat eye, and they just pull through ribbons because they kind of squish down to nothing like that. I'm going to try and get a knot right at the very end because I don't have a lot to waste. And I do like to use up every little bit in my, probably could have done better than that, but anyway. So that's his tail. Let's have a little go at his comb. Start with, I'm okay without my thimbles. I'm going to try and follow the little image for his comb. Go through there, yeah. And then we'll do a bit of action with the dark blue, just to give it a bit of light and dark. Come on, buddy. Look at him, and now he looks magnificent. I'll probably sew him over when I'm stitching it all together. That happens sometimes when I stitch my pieces together. Something I've spent a lot of time on ends up underneath, but yeah, that's okay. And see, when people think you can't use ribbon embroidery, this is a sheet. You can see how tightly woven this is, and that's coming through, no worries at all. So he looks fabulous. I'm going to do a couple of his thingies under his chin. I can't remember what they're called. Oops, stick his eye out. I'm just trying not to pull it too fast because I don't want to pull all these tight behind me. The beauty of working with this stuff is it doesn't come off your needle. It's very satisfying because you can pull it through and it sits tight in your needle. Come on, little guy. I've got one. I've probably got, maybe that's my last light blue. What do you think? Oh. Yes, I can do it. There we go. See, I've got more under there. See, yep, that's just as well because he needs this little sticky bit here. Not quite capturing all of his magnificence. Come on, buddy, come through. Oh, gotcha. Look at that, perfect. Okay, that looks better. And again, I'm literally going to just tie this in a knot close to. If you know a better way to tie off than this, let me know. As I said, I just make it up. And I figure as long as it's tied down, not going anywhere fast. Let's trim off the big bits so I don't end up with them. Now, this is the tricky bit, because when you start using the next layer of these, look at that, I have 3 needles here. And see how different they all are. I want this fat one, because quite often now I'll be threading the dark blue. I'm just going to be careful where I place my needle so that I'm not pulling a needle through the silk ribbon, because that's when it does become a bit of a nightmare. He is looking much more important now. Let's just trim it to a point so I can put him through my needle. I have a little bit more of this so I can make a bit of a longer piece. Go all the way to the bottom. So I'm thinking that, so I just have to pull my chair. I'm thinking that this needs to just kind of highlight the top, almost where the black lines are. I'm kind of just going to follow the shape of what I've made. And again, looking to try and avoid having to work through another pushing my needle through the actual light blue ribbon. It's much easier just because it's finer. Using holes that are already there helps. We want him to look magnific. And I think I'll come in here. Like that. What's that? I might just follow. I'll go here. I'm right in the point of that one, but that's okay, and just follow him around. What do you think? I'm happy with that. Going back from here now, I'm going to just follow again, make a point here, like it's a feather. And coming in, and I am going through ribbon now. Are you ready? Hold your breath. Now that worked really well. Perfect. And to go up through here. Again, imagining the curve of that original line that was there. And just extending the blue, dark blue beyond where the light blue stopped so that it looks more like a line. I'm going to go down to here, point. Okay, that didn't want to go through, so I'm just going to move it over a little bit. And then I think I'll come back here and go around the bend. How can I go around the bend? I can probably do that. This ribbon's much easier to use. See how that looks. Is that perfect? So I want that line to carry through the middle. So I'm going to pop myself through here, back through here where I was before. Use my table to shove it through. I'm going to carry that line all the way to here. And then down to here. And like that. He is much more impressive now, don't you think? So this is just, again, using what I have, not really overthinking it, going, okay, what do I have that will work? While I'm here, I think I need to continue this line from here, there it is, the hole, down to the bottom here. There we go, and then kind of back to here, which is okay. And I'm going to follow that top feather up and around. here. We'll go through there, buddy. There we go. Come on. Oh, it doesn't like that very much. I'm going to bring that back around to here, I think. See how that looks. And then point at the top. Awesome. So now I'm just going to finish with this black line here. And I might just use this dark blue to do a little bit of the highlights out the back sort of thing, if you know what I mean. Like just follow this little line here without a light blue. So as if this is continuing from here. So this pointy bit. Alrighty, what do you think? I'm happy with that. I'm going to follow along this line. I've kind of brought it over. So I have lost a bit underneath, but that's okay. I'm going to just follow this blue line up and along, just a back stitch, just to join him together. Continue stitching a rooster is what I needed to do today. Okay, and then I've reached his little comb. I probably need to start a new piece of ribbon. Let me just see. Oh, he's gorgeous. Look. I might just use what I've got left to kind of make some bits here. I'm just going till I run out of ribbon. Do I have one more? I probably do. Oops, lost him. All right. That's my sign, isn't it, that I have enough. Tie him off. And again, like I could probably just leave it. It's not going anywhere. But I do kind of like to make sure nothing is going to move. Go through there, you. All right, so I'm going to continue with the dark blue. I do have a little bit more. And that will join him all together and make him look fabulous. Let's see, where's the end? Again, just cutting a little point. I love that these needles have such a big eye. They are not at the end. Silk ribbon. Let's finish off our rooster. So looking at that, I'm going to join. I don't like that that doesn't join. I thought it might be all right. It doesn't work for me. So I'm just going to join him up with all these lovely blue bits. I might spin it a bit because I want it to be spun, twisty, not flat. Okay. It went flat. So here. I'm just kind of again following the black line, which is going to give us a shape. This is much easier than the last needle, so I'm not using my thimble at the moment. I'm not feeling that I need it. It's sliding through really well. And I'm going to deliberately put this through the ribbon so that it kind of just all melts together. Through there, so I have a point here. Oops, look at that, I've lost my ribbon. Give myself another start. If I can rethread him. So here he is so far. Now I'm going to just come and do exactly what I did on his comb, what I did on his feathers, which is just give a bit of outline using the dark blue to go through the same holes in some places. I don't want to pull it tight. I don't want it to go flat, so I'm just being careful not to pull it through at the same time, pull the dark light blue through. And then to go, I'm going to do a little one in here, just like that. And then a teeny tiny little one in here. Just, that isn't going through at all. Just like, use the table. Just like, go in there you, that. Good. And then the same here, I'm just going to do a little bit of depth. I pulled that too tight, so now you can't see it. So I'm going to just pull you out a bit. What do you think? I'm going to follow these black lines. Just with a little back stitch. Just to make him really pop out. Isn't he fabulous? Okay. So this is a fabric that I had curtains in for ages. Just gone on and on. These are the last bits of it. It's been reused and reconfigured, and it's cushions and all sorts of things. Okay, so I'm nearly finished my little rooster. I'm not going to do his eye or his beak. I'm just going to leave them, I think. How are we going? There he is. I need to do his eye. I don't think I want to do it in the... Let's have a look. I can always pull it out. Let's just have a look if I have a look. Statement I just made. I'm not doing his eye. And then I am doing his eye. I'm going to leave that like that now. Done. I'm happy with that. I'm going to tie my little piece off here. Close as I can. And trim. Okay, so that is my rooster, looking more fabulous than he was. I'm happy with all of this. Do I want to do anything in the background here? I might just do some seed stitching. It kind of lends itself to some seed stitching. So I'm going to use this to just do, oh, I don't know, it's a bit shiny. What if I used this light blue one that I got from Vinnie's? Let's just do some of this and see how it goes, hey? So how am I going for time? 54 minutes. Right. I'm trying not to make super long videos, but it's very hard. So I think I'm going to keep them to an hour and then go off and keep working on my own and come back. Because I find when I video, I really miss listening to my audiobooks. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do an hour of recording, and then I will reward myself by listening to some audiobooks. So this is going to be a bit time consuming. So I'm going to just do a whole heap of seed stitches here. Not to do anything other than to give some texture and to alter that little background a bit because it's a slightly different color. and it'll just give it a bit more interest. It's going to take me a minute. There we go. So what are you working on? Have you finished your Roxy Journal of Stitchery piece? And some of them are just fabulous. I've been watching along on the Facebook group. I just love how everyone has interpreted it so differently. Some have gone for a real kind of representation of, reality with incredible skill. Something I never try to do because I just don't have that skill and that technique. Some have gone really in a different direction and gone very slow stitchy and busy and not abstract but kind of a bit more impressionist. So I will put that on my list of things. I'm going to finish that this weekend. That's my goal. There you go. I'm going to finish Roxy Volume 7 this weekend. So there it is. You heard me say it out loud. As long as no disasters happen. I literally was driving home last night from my daughter's and I said to my husband, oh, finally we're at a point where everyone is okay, which hasn't been the case for a while because my dad was very ill and he died in February. And then, I had a broken hand, and then my daughter has been very unwell and her bub has been unwell. And I said, oh, look at that. Finally, everybody is okay. And then literally as I said it, a car overtook me and threw up a rock and broke my windscreen. So I won't be putting that vibe out into the universe again. So I'm just going to be quiet and calm and sit in my little room and sew for a bit. Told my family to just sit down for a bit and nobody get injured or hurt or unwell. We can all recover. So you can see this kind of just disappears, but it's the texture. It's the texture, it's the texture. And because it's a slightly lighter color than the background dots, it kind of just makes you kind of look again and go, hang on, what's going on there? Some of those dots are gone. So far, the straw needles are great for slow stitching. They're strong. They are, they have big eye holes. They are sharp, but they are quite thick. And I do find they go blunt quite quickly. So, and because they're thick, obviously that limits how sharp they can be. So I would definitely recommend having some in your stash of needles. Particularly if you're stitching through things like this, which are, 3, 4, 5 layers of various thickness of linens and upholstery fabrics and, vintage textiles. They work really well. And, when you push the back of them, they don't sink into your finger, but they still leave a bruise because you're pushing very hard. So that's why I wear one of these guys. I sort of have them stashed everywhere. I tend to lose them and then find them again. So I'm not going to put this piece down now until it's completely finished, and I'm going to do that with each of my panels. I've done it with the top 3 pieces, panels 1 to 3, but I just need to now work through my panels. I'll do it for panels up to panel 7. And then panel 8 still needs a fair bit of work, and panel 9 is literally just the needle point at this point. And then I know when I finish those, I'll just focus on finishing them and then I'm done. I will put it all back together on the wall like I do, and quite often add little bits here and there to make sure that it's all cohesive and that it's balanced and that it works. And then the fun part of stitching it all together comes. So that's the plan, Stan. Having said that, this was going to be finished in the Christmas holidays, but this is not something you can do with a broken thumb. My thumb's good. It's recovering. Like, it's still swollen, as you can see. I'm nearly there. You should be able to lift those up to the same amount. You can still see how tight it is here. So it's coming back. It's coming back slowly but surely. So there's my little bit of blue. Look, I'm not happy. It needs more. So I'm going to probably, where are we? We are 1 hour and 27 seconds. I'm going to leave you there. I'm going to go and work on this little guy for a bit longer, but I will do a studio tour a little bit later today, and you can see where I'm up to with my studio with no walls. Well, I have some walls, but there are several walls missing. And then I'm going to make a start on my, once I finish this piece, on finishing my Roxy's Journal of Stitchery. So thanks for popping in. Lovely to have you.